Hi friends, David here from Learn Stage Lighting, and today we're going to review a lighting console that I have just a little bit of history with, and this is the Onyx NX4. We're going to talk about what's good about it. We're going to talk about what's bad about it. We're going to talk about what I like. We're going to talk about what I don't like. It's kind of the same thing. Let's dive in. So the Onyx NX4 from Obsidian Control Systems is right now, at the time of this recording, the highest tier console from Onyx. And, it offers a surprising amount of output, faders, features, when you compare it to other consoles, kind of apples to apples, spec sheet to spec sheet on the market. Not only that, but of course, we love the Onyx consoles here at Learn Stage Lighting. We love the software. And so the question, we want to kind of answer two questions today. And the first is, why in the world should I buy a big console, their biggest console in the line, as opposed to, a PC solution, something like that? And then number two would be that we're going to say, hey, what do we think about this? What do we like? What do we don't like? So the NX4 comes from a long line of consoles. Originally, basically the Martin M1 console. Okay, let's talk about hardware first. So as you can see, the whole console itself has handles on the side, which I absolutely love, making it really easy for a single person, a single lighting designer, etc., to be able to pick up, put on a table. You can get help, but it's not outrageous to do yourself. Here we've got it in the factory road case, which is a nice lidded road case with roller skate type wheels, rubber bumpers on the other side so it sits nice and flat on your work surface, and it does not try to roll around even though the wheels are touching the ground. Okay, the console itself is a solid size where you've got just enough space to have the 10 motorized faders, and we'll show the overhead here, as well as the 12 non-motorized faders, 12 additional playback buttons, the 10 playback buttons alongside the main faders here, and then the exhaustive programming section. Okay, on the back side, let's pop over to that super quick. We got a number of things going on that are key to note. So you get 4 DMX outputs, as well as a DMX input on the back. You get, these are ports for the old Martin wings, so a lot of people don't use them. We have MIDI and SMPTE in and out through, okay? And then we also have the 2 network ports as well. You notice mine is missing the MIDI and SMPTE because the cards were back ordered for a season, but now they're in. And then we've got USB ports, external screen power, which again is something that's kind of not used. But we've got 2 DisplayPort outs for external monitors, so they can be touched, they can be regular. And then we have audio inputs as well, which, as of the latest beta version, can be used. Woohoo! Then we've got our desk lamps on the back and coming back around to the front here. Desk lamps, the cool thing about the desk lamps is not only are they, nice, bright, white desk lamps, but they are actually RGB. So you can go into the setting, you can actually patch them as a fixture and get them in order to actually run as a part of your show, which sounds kind of cheesy at first, but can actually be really helpful in situations where you've got a long-running theater show or a cruise ship or something like that, where it's the same show over and over. You want to have the levels adjust automatically or give yourself some cueing to, pay attention to this, to that. It actually can be really helpful. In terms of programming controls, as we can look from the overhead, there's a couple things we really love about this. So the NX4 has a few programming controls that you won't see on any other Onyx console or wing. Okay, namely that would be the ball, which can be used for pan tilt adjustment, and that would also be the wheel for intensity adjustment. So if I select a fixture, I can go ahead and use the mouse as just a trackball. We've got our nice trackball, our dedicated intensity wheel, we have our full touch screen for selecting our different parameters, and then also being able to go into various parameters like color, get a color picker, interact with that. Same thing for gobos in any fixture. You can go select between the gobos. Assuming the gobos are in the fixture library, you'll see the pictures right there. And so you don't typically have to pop up the parameters on the screen. You're going to get 64 universes of output, 4 encoder wheels, and they all click for select. That's to give you the ability, for example, to load different parameters. So if I go, for example, to beam here, and I tap this first encoder, it's not going to do anything at first. I can double tap it, get my graphical on the screen, or hold load, tap it, and now I've loaded that parameter. I can hold clear, tap it. Now I've cleared that parameter. Okay, so load typically loads the whole group. Clear will clear them individually. Gives you the ability to work really, really fast as you're on the NX4. As well, in terms of programming, there are F keys. There's a lot of F keys. So you've got 1 through 9 here, and you can go and you can press any of them to have them do their various things. Like I just got into a save one. You can hold edit and go to those keys, and then you're editing their function. Okay. So, oops, we got into the user manual. Close that. Go back. So, edit again, 6, 9 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional ones here. All of them completely editable to different functions, different views, selecting groups, whatever you want them to be. Okay. Then when it comes to the playback, okay, the faders are where the NX4 really rocks. So you've got many banks of faders, and these main 10 are motorized. Okay, so you say, okay, it's a 10 motorized fader console. I also love the LCD labels. They're always going to mirror what you've saved them to in the queue, but there's more. So in the case of the faders, you can also switch over with this little arrows button on the screen, or you can set it to an F key. And now, what were the playback buttons right here, 10 cues, are now on the faders, and vice versa. Okay, so being able to switch those on the fly means that you're able to switch back and forth really quick without moving off the bank that you're on, to be able to adjust things on the playback buttons. Okay, really cool. Over here, and I know this is much to their chagrin, but we'll look at the overhead again. We've got our 12 sub-playback faders. They are a shorter fader that is non-motorized. I like to use these for things where you never change the bank, so things like hazers, etc. This is one thing that I have mixed feelings about with the console. So we have 12 playback faders, 12 playback buttons with space to put tape labels above and below. This is so tough. Okay, on the old Martin M1s, there was a little wheelie doodle that allowed you, that's a technical term, to switch the banks on the playback, the sub-playbacks, okay, the buttons and the faders, okay? I liked those a lot. I understand, especially with them being a non-motorized fader, why they removed them, because it could be easy to switch it accidentally. There's no LCD label, and there's no motorized fader, so you could switch it, be in a bank that doesn't have anything on it or has the wrong thing on it, and then be accessing something that you didn't mean to. Okay, I understand why they got rid of it. I don't always love it, because I did like those little wheels, especially on the buttons, where I could just cruise through. Maybe I would put different levels for hazers, or different color combinations, different gobos, and every page would be just different sets of the same sort of things, so I could easily change the look on stage. Okay, I would also use those faders for effects. You could switch between them and have kind of different variations of the same type effect on different banks. But I digress. They got rid of that. It's probably for the better. It kind of frustrates. It's fine. We also have for programming, touchscreen. Okay, it's a 15.6-inch touchscreen. Most people say it feels bigger. All right, and it really does. They fit a lot on it. It's in HD, so it's really high quality. With the touchscreen as well, there are bumpers so that when it comes down, it doesn't hit any buttons. It lands in just a really good spot. And then on the side, there are screen encoders, 4 of them right here. You can see them on the overhead. And those, when we go ahead and hold edit and assign something to them in your show file, now can have any fixed parameter, group intensities, live time, etc. I love to personally do intensity pan tilt, and then live time on these, so that the most common parameters that I adjust are always right there for whatever fixture I have selected. I just turn that with my finger, which is already near the screen when I'm programming, and boom, I'm adjusting that parameter. Done. Okay. And so we also have in the middle of the console things I forgot to go over. This is a main playback cue stack. So this is for your selected cue list or the cue list that you identify as main in the software. So in a theatrical type show, you don't have to use up one of your 10 faders for your main cue list. You can use the big buttons for that and then have 10 motorized faders for your other stuff. Grandmaster as well, non-motorized with a flash button, you can, or a blackout button, you can adjust exactly the function of that as well and use that to your heart's content. So, a lot of really good stuff in this console from a hardware perspective. Obviously, in terms of software, the fact that you have 64 universes unlocked and you get things like the Dylos Pixel Mapper in Onyx, which, again, in the new version, which is about to come out when I'm recording this, there is some really cool new stuff like beat detection, okay? To be able to grab music coming in on the audio input, detect the beat of it. It's really cool and a lot of fun to play with. I recently did a Nerf gun fight at my church and pixel mapped the house lights using the beat mapping. It worked amazing. I was able to, minimally change the settings on the beats and then run out there and shoot kids in the youth group with Nerf guns, which was obviously a lot of fun. And so it's totally awesome the way they built this. They put all these things together. And, in terms of consoles, I mean, in my mind, the biggest decision I think that's always to be made when you're looking for a professional level lighting console is this, right? Does the software suit your needs? Does it do the things you need? Does it do what you want? And is the return on investment there? And return on investment isn't just a term for rental companies, right? It's also for churches, for music venues, because ultimately, even though it's not a financial ROI, you have to go and say, hey, I have this much budget this year, right? I only have so much. So how do I get the most out of it to be able to do the things that I want to do? And so going with something like an NX4 it's like, okay, in its price range, it's about equal to a Roadhog type console or similar consoles that have 10 non-motorized faders and a built-in screen and a fully built-in console, right? But in this one, you get 10 motorized faders. You get 64 universes of unlocked output, which is a lot. You get the 10 buttons that can go back to the motorized faders and the 12 by 12, so 24 playbacks here, 12 with faders, 12 with buttons. You get the fact that you have a dedicated intensity wheel and a trackball built in means that, honestly, I put the NX1 up there with consoles that are 25 or 30 grand at the time of this recording, but the NX1 comes in at significantly less than that. So when you're in a bigger space, when you're in a bigger venue, when you need those faster programming controls at your hands, I would not look past the NX4. Did I say NX2? I would not look past the NX4 if you're looking for a console in those sorts of applications. It's just such a great console. We love the software, and pretty much every lighting designer I know, when they get to use the software, really get deep into it, they say, okay, for a lot of situations, this software is awesome, and it really does an amazing job. So, if that sounds good to you, check it out. We've got them at LearnStage Lighting Gear. We love to help people, and we're trying to be the #1 Onyx dealer in the nation. Can you help us? So head over to LearnStage Lighting Gear. If you're interested in an NX4 or more than one, add them to your cart, request a quote. We love to help people, not only with your consoles, but all of the lighting you need. And of course, out of the box, it works great with the Netron products. It works with any DMX node to get those universes out. And it's just an awesome all-around console that we love to be able to help people get. So if that sounds good, head over to the site. We'll help you guys out, and we appreciate you guys coming, watching our tutorials, and checking out the NX4. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. See ya.